Good morning, everybody. On what looks like to be a fantastic day of warm weather again, you're joining us on our final SSE Energy Solutions webinar supporting Net Zero Week, entitled How You Can Use Digitalisation to Accelerate Your Path to Net Zero. Anyone not presenting today should be on mute, but if you do notice that you're not, please check that now. We're not using webcams, so you don't need to worry about those. We expect today's webinar to last no more than 40 minutes, including some time for your Q&As at the end. If you have any questions as we go through the webinar today, please use the questions and answers function that you should find as part of the GoToWebinar system that loaded for you. Your hosts today are Eunice Maybe, Energy Optimization and Platform Operations Director, and Patrick Mitchell, Head of Mayflower Smart Control. They will introduce themselves a little bit at the start of each of their sections. So firstly, before we begin...
Mark, sorry to interrupt. Can you hear me okay? I managed to get in.
Hi, is that Tom?
It's Tom, yeah.
We've started the broadcast, sorry, Tom.
Okay, no problem.
Okay, sorry, thanks. Sorry about that. Guys, before we start, a short amount about a short view of SSE Group. SSE Energy Solutions is recently rebranded. We were SSE Utilities and Business Energy, and we've rebranded now to SSE Energy Solutions. And you can see here where we sit within the SSE Group alongside SSE Renewables and Thermal. We're a leading developer and operator of renewable energy across the UK and Ireland, with a portfolio of around 40 gigawatts of onshore, offshore wind and hydro. And who you're speaking with today is SSE Energy Solutions. And we complement the energy value chain of SSE Group, bringing sustainable, flexible, green and renewable energy market for our customers. We provide an offering of energy tariffs as well as low carbon energy solutions to 1.3 million customers in Great Britain and within Ireland as well. So I'm now going to hand you over to Eunice, who will start off our presentation today.
Morning, everyone. As a bit of background on myself as an intro, I have 16 years experience in energy management and data analytics, working across both public and private sectors. And this morning I'll be covering 3 of our digital platforms. But to kick off, I just wanted to start off with a poll. So hopefully you'd have seen that and had that invitation of polls as part of your invite. But let's kick one off this morning. So just pitching where we all are. So how would you describe your organisation's current journey to net zero? So if you can use your voting buttons to select whether you've not started, targets are set and published, your baseline data has been gathered, or we're well on our way. We just give you a couple of seconds to vote. That would be much appreciated.
There's still a few more votes to come in. About 60% of you have voted. Okay, let's take a look at the results.
Oh, it's interesting to see how 40% are well on their way, which is great considering we've all got to get to net zero by 2050. It's fantastic that 40% are well on their way within that journey. As you can see, there's still some gathering data. 15% still haven't set their targets, and 25% still haven't started at all. So still work to be done, and obviously hopefully you'll find this useful in how we can help our customers along that journey. So yeah, really interesting. Hope you found it interesting too on that quick poll. So as mentioned, I'll be covering 3 of my platforms this morning. So starting off with data collection and aggregation, then moving on to business energy intelligence, which is known as BEI, and then our Mayflower premise, which is our smart building platform. So as you'll hopefully agree, data is key to enable baselines as well as tracking performance over time. And I'm delighted to say that SSE gained a DCGA license in October last year. Although this is very transactional, as you can see from the diagram, we dial meters, we pass through the balancing and settlement code, we then issue the verified consumption to the nominated supplier for billing and Alexon for governance. We see this data as the starting point, the first step to understand where you are, where you need to go, and how to prove the outcome of your efforts. Throughout my presentation, I'm going to be taking a number of polls. So I'm going to start off with another one now around DCDA services. So back to you, Mark. So did you know that companies can procure DCDA services rather than leaving as part of the supply contract? So a simple yes or no answer. Are you aware of that?
Just a few more votes to come in. Okay, let's have a look at the results.
(67 to 33). Brilliant. It's really good to know that that's increased. I know that hasn't been the case over time. So fantastic to know that people can procure that separately. So thanks for your responses on that. So why bother to procure yourself? Hopefully the 60% would agree with this. It gives you the opportunity to ensure you're getting value for money and the service levels that you require. The data is obviously coming direct from source to yourself, so it's cutting out that usual multiple handling that can happen. The charges are transparent, as sometimes they can be lost within bills, and you have a better understanding of your data quality, so the number of estimates versus actuals that you've got. And within SSE, you'll have access to a dedicated help desk. Having all of this data at your fingertips and as a certified source, it will be easier to fulfill your energy legislation requirements, as well as verifying savings through option C of the International Performance Measurement and Verification Protocol methodology. On top of all of that, you're probably aware that Ofgem have recently announced that smart meters will be settled through this process from next year, and this will increase the current volume by circa 600%, which is amazing. So why choose us? As part of SSE, we have brand strength and longevity. And as mentioned at the beginning, SSE is committed to achieving net zero, but also helping our customers along their journey. We are an accredited license holder by Alexon. We know our prices are competitive in the marketplace. We have over 20 years experience in the balancing and settlement code and proactively chase down estimates rather than wait within the authorised time boundaries. We understand reporting is important to give you the transparent information you require. And we have our energy management platform, BEI, to help you visualise and drive out actionable insights. Time for another poll. Sorry, I'm getting you working this morning. Do you know who supplies your DCDA services? And 55% of you do, which is fantastic. But there's 45% of you that don't. So hopefully after this presentation, you'll look to find out who they are and the services that they're providing for you. So what benefits can you get from nominating and having your own DCDA services? As a customer, the benefits you will see: transparent charges. So there's nothing hidden in bills. You understand the cost of those services for your business. You'll have access to your day+1 energy consumption. You have the ability to validate that consumption against your invoices. And as mentioned, you have access to a dedicated help desk to assist with any queries or issues that you might be having. We're also supplier agnostic, so allowing your DCDA provider to be fixed at the best price rather than just what you get within a supply contract. And obviously that data is from source, like we mentioned before, so it's your starting point to net zero. So now I'm going to move on to our energy management platform known as BEI. We probably have all heard this saying, you can't manage what you can't measure. It's been going around for a number of years now. But our company's really taken the time out to gain the most out of the data that they have. So ready for our next quick poll. Comparing electricity use in the UK before and after the start of COVID, so comparing the data for 2019 versus 2020, what was the average annual reduction in use? Here comes the results. Oh, we have a tie on 17 and 28%, which is quite interesting. The actual reduction was 4%, quite surprisingly, I'm sure. It was for me, so I'm sure it was for you actually. Again, most of you would be aware how the Carbon Trust, amongst others, state that if you manage your consumption data, you could save up to 10%. And yet when the UK was on shutdown for the majority of the year, we only saved 4%. So I do feel that some of the basics seem to have been lost as the day-to-day projects and workloads overtake, rather than looking at and using the data that we have. So we understand that many businesses already have energy management platforms, and we know that some of our customers have multiple platforms. But are they easy to use? Are they intuitive? BEI has a number of interactive reports allowing you to drill down to the issue, to compare data, to schedule reports, to download the data from your interaction. Using the energy management platform can really show at a glance how you're performing, actionable insights to stop any wastage, along with reducing your carbon. For an example, most energy managers would look at Christmas Day as the lowest consumption point to use as a baseline. But it would be really interesting to see how that compares to the lockdown consumption of businesses that were closed. And I would ask you if you've actually looked at that yourselves. So we'd like to make it easier for the user, and we feel that this is key. So within BEI, we have alarms that correlate to the weather, enabling you to set up thresholds and then receive alerts without even having to log in. As you would expect and require, all your utility data needs to be in one platform to help you coherently understand your baseline, as well as track and verify your performance against your net zero objectives. BEI ingests electric, gas, water, heat, steam, BEMS, EV, and renewable data. The data can be of any frequency and is visualized in 30-minute intervals as a minimum. Having a one-stop shop and the ability to schedule reports to stakeholders on your carbon generation through to your consumption really does digitalize step 2 in measuring and managing your utility data. We understand that BEI and other platforms are only of benefit if they are used, and I think the example of the 4% reduction actually shows that. But you understand that time tends to be at a premium. Day-to-day working activities can distract customers from using the platforms that they have invested in. To help with the challenge and alleviate the issue, we offer a virtual energy manager service. This is where our in-house energy data analysts and energy managers can complete a range of services on your behalf, which is completely flexible. Whether pulling out actionable insights, verifying carbon and energy savings, reporting, training, presenting, or completing your energy legislation requirements, we are here to help. So now we're going to move on to our smart buildings platform. Technology is moving rapidly across multiple services, including buildings. Traditional boots on the ground are being exchanged for remotely connected and controlled buildings. This has only increased with COVID, where more of our customers are realising the wider benefits of remote building management systems due to lockdown. But it's not just BEMS. Sensors and IP-enabled assets can and will be added into the mix. According to McKinsey forecasts, by 2025, the global IT market will reach $6.3 trillion. We will have voice recognition, predictive maintenance, and self-healing buildings, and this is just around the corner. So why are we focused on buildings? From the chart, you can see that nearly a third of urban emissions could be cut by 2050 by making our buildings more efficient. Even if we turn to the investors looking through the Verdantix survey, we can see the greatest opportunity in their opinion was the availability of building data, with smart building technology coming in as a close second. With a greater focus on well-being, productivity, and safely returning to work, COVID can really act as a springboard in a company's net zero journey. So we know that typically data is available in buildings, but it's been held separately and in isolation. By bringing this data together, layering and using machine learning and artificial intelligence will enable greater insights in real time. We know that some vendors have platforms that focus on one particular area. For example, building services and equipment such as heating, ventilation, air conditioning and lighting. Whereas some others specialise in building occupants and visitors, covering services such as room booking, air quality and parking. All of these things can have an impact on your energy and carbon net zero journey. And SSE are creating a smart building platform to be that single pane of glass for all of those data sets. You may have seen recently the energy digitalisation strategy that was announced yesterday to enable millions of low carbon assets, including solar PV, electric vehicles and heat pumps, to be optimised across our energy system. This really solidifies the need to have a single platform, allowing businesses to decarbonise their buildings to achieve net zero. Currently, Mayflower Premise is at a proof of concept stage, and we're looking for customers to give us feedback on what we've created to date. If you're interested, please contact us via the details at the end. And what we've done is we've brought together consumption, generation, sensor, and live building management system data. The output is a number of different dashboards, which include embedded machine learning algorithms, of which you can see some examples on the screen there. By pulling data sets together and digitalizing items such as timetables and ticket sales. And a couple of examples of what we've done and what we've got the ability to do is around the optimizing of heating 24/7, enabling carbon and financial savings beyond the BMS strategies. We've aligned ticket sales of cinemas to the heating and ventilation required per screen rather than the one-size-fits-all approach. We're using CO2 and profiling to understand if normal patterns of occupants are disrupted, therefore needing to be investigated. So the Mayflower Premise gives us an understanding at a glance of any issues. And we also have a remote BEMS service so we can take action straight away. Having more items connected and moving on actionable insights quickly can really help accelerate our customers' journey to net zero. So, last poll, and thank you for responses so far. So if you can move on to that, Mark. Do you think businesses will utilise a smart building platform now, in the next 2 to 4 years, and the next 5 years plus, or never? Optimistic now, majority within the next 2 to 4 years, which is great. That was the last thought process. So again, if you're interested in talking to us about that, get in contact at the end. but I hope you found that useful. And now I'll pass you over to Pat.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Pat Mitchell. I'm head of Mayflower Smart Control, and I've worked in the electricity industry for over 30 years. My career has included the supervision and management of large-scale street lighting replacement and maintenance programs, commercial management and bidding of large-scale projects, and latterly, in the last 10 years, has included the development and deployment of smart controls for street lighting. This has now evolved into the smart city IoT market, helping local authorities meet the challenges of reaching carbon neutrality. So, about Mayflower Smart Control. Mayflower Smart Control is a developer and provider of central management systems. This means a client can control and monitor its lighting stock remotely. The client has the ability to change the lighting levels, turn on, turn off, dim up, dim down, depending on the lighting policy adopted. It's a very, very powerful and effective tool, giving the client full control. It can contribute to safety, well-being, security, financial savings, and of course, a reduction in CO2 emissions. This system is deployed in over 30 local authorities, controlling over 420,000 streetlights across the UK and Ireland. We can also communicate with the resulting network that we've created with other devices on the network, such as temperature sensors, mood lighting. You'll see the pictorial representation of a park in Southampton there, weather stations, etc., etc. Car parking. The use cases are endless. So what are the local authority benefits from a CMS? Well, benefits include the efficiency and maintenance of their operation, flexibility of control via the touch of a button, and of course the access to CO2 management. Hampshire County Council is the case study I've chosen here, and this is the largest single deployment of a central management system, CMS, control in the UK, and one of the first. It was first installed, or started to be installed back in 2010, when we commenced the upgrading of over 150,000 streetlights to efficient light sources and central management system. The installation was completed in 2016, and the project saw savings of over 50% in energy consumption. Now that's a fantastic achievement for any authority. When you consider a local authority's energy bill could be up to 50% related to lighting. And we've replicated that in other local authorities across the UK with clients such as Portsmouth Council, Nottingham, Stoke-on-Trent, Ealing, Islington, North Tyneside, Bolton, Reading, Slough, Soundwell, etc. And we're now looking at projects in West Sussex and in Cornwall. The slide here demonstrates, but bearing in mind if you take the information there, this is showing the changes that the CMS system has made in the latter years. So since 2015, where they've continued to change their lighting policy year on year, bit by bit, while still providing a safe environment for all stakeholders. You can see that the dramatic use of CMS and the changing in lighting regimes, dimming profiles, etc., results in a huge amount of savings. So 2015-16 year, 12,000 tons of CO2 produced. By last year, 2021, or 2020 to 2021, that was reduced to 5,000 tons of CO2. And that's just as a result of the application of this very powerful tool. And it gives lighting engineers, lighting managers, local authorities the ability to manage their assets. And if we just compare that very roughly into miles traveled in a car, the reduction from 47 million miles in a car to 19 million miles in a car is very, very significant. So it's a very quick win for local authorities. So what next for smart? Well, some projects, some local authorities that had gone through replacement projects 10 years ago are now revisiting those projects and replacing hardware and assets on site with even more efficient lighting sources, such as LED light sources and of course CMS. But they're wanting more, they're wanting smarter networks. But there are always challenges for local authorities, and in the 30 years that I've been in the industry, it's never been more challenging than it is now. Increased carbon reduction commitments, resource constraints, the current pandemic, and of course, investment. And investment needs evidence to substantiate business cases, and data is key to that investment in the support of further investment in smart technology. So the core, or the four asset pillars within our business are electricity networks, heating and cooling, generation and storage, and electric vehicles. But all of those asset pillars are underpinned by smart platforms. Eunice has talked about the smart buildings platform. I'm just going to talk a little bit about our smart city and places platform. And the two are intrinsically linked and have been developed together. The platform was developed to provide a single pane of glass approach to monitor performance of assets, ingest data from end devices, and provide analytics to inform policy change and investment for an end client. End devices can provide data on a long list of important subjects, such as air quality, traffic use, and water management, just a few examples. And I'm sure with the school holiday season starting, the road down to Cornwall will be extremely busy, and that needs to be managed and monitored. On the screen, you'll see a pictorial representation of our Smart City and Places platform with various applications involved in that. So we're talking to local authorities at the moment about what it is that they want, and we're developing the platform requirements to meet those specifications. There'll be existing applications that authorities have. There'll be existing data sets that the authorities have. There'll be existing data sets available to those clients, and those can all be ingested into that smart city application, that smart city and places platform. So we're very proud of the work we're doing on that, and it's developing very nicely. Data is visualized on the smart city platform and used to inform the client. Data such as vehicle count and classification, cars, lorries, cycles, motorbikes, etc., all important information for a client. We're also counting pedestrian activity in the bid to help local authorities and revitalise the high street and make the environment a more diverse place for the public and its users. This slide demonstrates our latest development in technology, which is the Mayflower Sentinel optical sensor. We've developed this in collaboration with Intel and Aon. We've worked with Intel for the last 2 years in developing this very exciting technology. It's based on an edge processing concept on site. We collect data, and that data is transferred to software. Analytics are run on that software, no images, and we can provide very powerful insight into traffic, to pedestrian activity, to for safety, security reasons, etc., etc. Very, very powerful tool, and it's a very exciting project that we're working on at the present time. So just one example of the sort of hardware that we're moving into, that we're developing ourselves. But I think the other thing that I was trying to call out in this slide is collaboration is key, and our partners are key, and our supply chain is key. And with the challenges of COVID pandemic and the challenges of Brexit, the supply chain is even more important than it's ever been. So close relationships are key, and we're not going to do this alone. We need to work with our partners. The slide here is just a quick snapshot of the sort of data that we're capturing now on a site down in the southwest. So we're counting vehicles, pedestrians, bicycles, etc., etc. And we can run through a long list of applications and algorithms that this device can use. And we're getting a lot of interest from local authorities, not only from the expected end subjects such as air quality and traffic, but also that pedestrian data. So revitalisation of the high street is high on the agenda for lots of local authorities, and those local authorities need data to build those business cases for investment and change. So watch the space on that product. It's as I say, it's very exciting. And then finally, just a few words on some of the current projects we're engaged in. Slough has an existing central management system for its street lighting with us, that it's being used very effectively and saving money for Slough. Slough, unfortunately, is in a little bit of financial distress at the moment, but these tools will help them ease that burden. We're also carrying out air quality monitoring as part of a DEFRA-funded pilot in Slough, working with our partner, in this case, Ricardo, collecting data and monitoring the use of vehicles around schools and the detrimental effect that that may be having on people attending those schools and around those schools. So a very powerful project which is being extended because of the COVID situation. We're also working with Slough on a flood resilience program. Again, it's a funded opportunity through DEFRA and the Environment Agency. And there are some key partners in that, including the Rivers Authority, the Environment Agency, Thames Water, etc. So again, a great example of collaboration and working together. And that will be going on for the next 12 months, building that business case for that. Very exciting. Another tremendously exciting project, and one that we're very proud to be involved with, is the Cornwall Council traffic monitoring. I showed you the Sentinel product earlier on, our optical sensor that's deployed in Cornwall, and we're assessing the results of that. We're hoping to move that into towns to feed more data and information into that local authority. They're also trialling our Smart City in Places platform to collate that data, ingest data from other areas, etc. We're also looking at flood detection monitoring. And whilst we're all bathing in this fine sunshine at the moment, I'm sure the bad weather will be on its way towards the end of the year. And we're discussing essential management with Cornwall to replace their existing one that is no longer fit for purpose. And then finally, we're in discussions with Glasgow around the COP26 event to be held in November. SSE are a principal partner in that event, and Mayflower Smart Control aim to be there, demonstrating our technology through traffic monitoring, maybe collecting data from the high street, installing some CMS, linking that up with air quality, etc., and then linking all of that back to our Smart City in Places platform. So very powerful tools, very powerful hardware and software. And I'll leave it there. Thank you very much.
Great, thank you very much, Eunice and Patrick. Some great insights there, and fascinating to see the breadth of opinions and experience of the net zero journey through the poll as well. We were hoping to hear from Thomas, and you probably heard him pop in at the start of the call. Unfortunately, some technical difficulties there, which I'm sure we've probably all experienced during these unprecedented times, so apologies for that. We just have the one question, so it looks like you've answered most of the questions there, Eunice and Patrick, but we have one from Hafiz Atif, and the question is, what is the biggest challenge to convert old cities to smart cities?
Okay, well, I think it's sign on from those cities, and those cities having a very clear strategy of how they're going to achieve their goals. And we need to start acting quickly in that respect. And if cities have not, and places I should add, have not started that journey, then they need to. As I mentioned, the conference of the parties, COP26, is happening in November, bringing together over 50 representatives from different countries. And if you look at that website, it states on there, or there is a soundbite on there, that there is no one winner in the race to net zero. Either we all win or we all lose. So it needs to be a top-down approach, in my opinion, from the executives of local authorities and cities, and with the help of ourselves, our collaboration partners and our supply chain, we can go a long way to help them achieve those goals.
Great, thank you. No more questions in there. So as I say, it looks like you've probably answered everyone's questions. If you do have any further questions and would like to talk to Eunice and Patrick's team about any of the products and solutions and ways of thinking that we've shared with you today, then please get in touch using our new website, sscenergysolutions.co.uk, or if you'd like more information on Mayflower, you can visit mayflowercontrol.com. Before we close, just a quick note to say, please do join us at our next SSE Energy Solutions webinar, where we'll be looking at how you can improve your building health with air ionisation. You can find the details of that on our LinkedIn feed, which is SSE Energy Solutions, or you can register at the link at the bottom of your screen. And I'll leave that up for a few moments before we finish the broadcast. But that's all from us today. Thank you very much for joining us. I hope you've enjoyed today's presentation, and just leaves me to thank Eunice and Patrick again for their presentation, and also I'm going to thank Thomas Ching, as he was due to join us but unfortunately couldn't. So thank you all very much for your time, and we look forward to you joining us again soon in the future. Thank you.